questions as we go through our content. So I'm Julia Carson, and I'm the curriculum developer who created this course. The switch from our Python course, our current course in Python 2.7 to now Python 3 has been a long time coming, and I'm so excited to share it with you all today. So let's take a look at what we're going to cover in this session. We're going to start with an overview of the course, who it's for, what it covers, and some important info to keep in mind when bringing this course to your students. Then we'll take a look at exactly what differences exist between Python 2 and Python 3. We'll give you some information about where you can access all the needed materials for the course, and we're going to end the webinar with Q&A. So don't worry, all your questions will be answered by the end of our event. All right, let's get started. The Python course is a full-year high school course. Students will be using the Python 3 language to learn basic computer programming concepts, as well as some more advanced programming in Python, such as data structures and string manipulation. If you've taken or taught our Introduction to Programming in Python course before, you will only notice a few minor changes in the content. This is because this course is the same as our previous Python course, just now using the Python 3 language rather than 2.7, which was used previously. This course can be taken by students that are completely new to programming, or can be used as a way to expose students to a new programming language. So if you've already taught these students JavaScript or web design, this is a way that they can learn a new programming language. One change from our previous Python course is the addition of unit tests. Unit tests are a different type of exercise that allow for more robust auto-grading. We had noticed that auto-graders, especially later in the course when concepts are more complex, were making it difficult for students and teachers to fully understand what was being asked of them. So we altered a few exercises to use unit tests instead of traditional auto-graders. Let's take a look at a unit test to see the difference. So I'm going to hop into our code editor right here, and you'll see this is one of our exercises in our Python 3 course. It's called exclamation points. And the exercise asks students to complete a function where text that's entered will be edited so that any lowercase I will be replaced with an exclamation point. This is going to use some for loops and go through strings and lists. So you'll notice that the code editor, if you've seen our code editor before, this looks a little bit different. So on the side, you'll see we have two different files, unit test and scratchpad. So students can go into the scratchpad if they need to test something, and they can write all of their code here, run scratchpad, and they'll see their code run here. But in order to actually solve the assignment here, they're going to need to write their function that will return what is being asked here. And when they click check unit test, they'll be able to see what tests are being asked and what their results are and the difference. So right now, this is just returning the exact text that was being brought in, so they're not passing. Sorry, my dog is a little excited. But if I instead put the answer and I check it, now I'm seeing that this is what is expected, all of the lowercase i's with exclamation points, and I can see that I'm passing all of the tests. So this is a way that makes it a little bit easier for you as a teacher to make sure that students are fully completing what is being asked of them without having to go through auto-graders that we are writing that are just testing certain parts of their program. So this is going to make sure that no matter what text we put in, and we have a bunch of different test cases, the students are returning exactly what is being asked. So we use unit tests a lot more in the Python 3 course because it makes it a lot easier for students to know what they need to do, for them to see exactly what they need to solve in order to complete the problem. And those exist a lot more in the higher modules of the course as programs get a lot more complex. And we also have a video in the course right before unit tests are introduced that show students exactly how to use them so that they understand the difference between the scratch pad and checking their code and all of those different things. The course is broken down into 10 modules that allow students to explore many different concepts in Python. They start by programming with Tracy the Turtle. Similar to Intro Programming with Carol, that unit in our JavaScript course, Tracy is a visual and engaging way to get students started programming in Python in a friendly and inviting environment. They then move on to control structures, functions, string manipulation, data structures, and they end the course by building a word guessing game. You'll also find lots of supplemental material that can be assigned to your students in the supplemental section. This includes a unit on object-oriented programming, additional Tracy challenges, and even a unit in Python graphics using the tkinter library. Here's some examples of the types of programs that students will develop in the Tracy the Turtle unit and in their final project, where they will build a console-based guess the word game. All right, before we move on to our next section, Evelyn, do we have any questions?
Yeah, we do have a few. So the first one is, can you check a unit test with the free version? And the answer to that is yes. So all of that functionality is available on free. I have a question, is Mastermind still in the course?
Yeah, so Mastermind is currently being updated from Python 2 to Python 3, but that will be included in the supplemental section of the course as it was in the previous course.
Got it. And is Pygame updated for Python 3?
Pygame isn't currently used in our course, so I'm not sure. I think you can use it in the sandbox.
Yeah, I think so too. We have a question, how long is the free version available? So the free version is available all year at any time. So great. And then we did have somebody chime in with Pygame does work with Python 3 and they use it in their class all the time, which is great. So thanks for answering that with us. Okay, so this is outside of CodeHS. Yeah, so Pygame should work in the sandbox. It's just not a part of our course. Is there a Python course for CS principles? So we are currently developing a course and we will be releasing a beta of that APCS principles in Python course early June, and it'll be the APCS principles course, but rather than using JavaScript like our current course does, it will use Python. Great, I think that's it. So we can go ahead and move on. Thanks, Julia.
All right, thank you. Okay, so now that we know what's in the course, we're going to take a look at Python 2 versus Python 3. The differences between the languages or the versions are very few. So if you are used to using our previous Python course using 2.7, you won't need to learn much to get yourself ready to teach this new version. So let's just take a look at those differences. The first main difference is with printing, and you can see why this would be pretty prevalent in our courses because we have a lot of console-based programs. So in Python 2, we used a print statement, which did not require parentheses, though if they were used, it would not cause an error. But in Python 3, the print statement has become a print function. So for this reason, parentheses are now required around the text to print, or an error will occur. This is not a really big change. It's just something that may trip you up the first few times. So it's just something to keep in mind. The second difference will definitely make it easier for beginner coders to program with Python. In Python 2, a single division sign performed floor division, which rounded all decimal values down to the whole number. For example, when we divided 5 by 2 in Python 2 with one division sign, the result was 2. This could easily skew calculations and introduce bugs into a program. In Python 3, division works as expected, holding on to any resulting decimal value. So when we divide 5 by 2 in Python 3, we get the expected value of 2.5. The final difference that's touched upon in our Intro to Python course is which items can be sorted in a list. In Python 2, we were able to compare items of different types, which allowed us to sort lists with multiple types. In Python 3, this is no longer possible. This is a tiny concept that is not very prevalent in our course, but it is a good thing to note as you get ready to teach the course, because if you try to compare items of two different types, you'll get this type error that you see on the bottom right. All right, do we have any questions specific to Python versions?
Yeah, so I have a question from Jennifer. What if you want to do integer division?
There is a way to do integer division in Python 3, the same as you could in Python 2, but that difference isn't very prevalent in the course.
Let's see. Do you have a reference list of differences that you could show, that teachers could show their students?
So we do have some documentation about the differences between Python 2 and Python 3 that we used before developing this course. We're also going to include the link to this webinar so that those differences will be made known. But throughout our course and the concepts that we touch on, those are the main differences, those three things. There are a lot more differences in the actual languages that you can find. There's so much research out there and so many blog posts and things that go through each of those differences that are outside of our curriculum and our course, but those are very easily accessible.
Could this course be scaled down for one semester?
This course is a little difficult to find a great stopping point for a midterm. You could teach half the course. Students might just be left hanging a little, which maybe you want to do. But there's definitely a way that you can work with our team to figure out which modules are best to remove from the course. One option is skipping the Intro to Tracy unit, though that is a really good way if you have brand new beginning coders. That's a really, really good way to get them excited and interested and to learn those concepts in a fun way before going in and just using it through the console. But that is if you have students who say already know the basic concepts of programming, have already taken a programming course, they could definitely jump into the next module after that, and that would dramatically shorten the amount of time that the course would take.
Great. And then just a clarification, because I'm seeing some questions come in. So this is a different course than our Python 2 course. So if you're currently teaching Python 2, nothing's going to change for you. You need to actually enroll in this Python 3 course to see the Python 3 updates. You're not going to see any updates to the Python 2 course. So if you want to continue teaching in Python 2, or if you're in the middle of a Python 2 course, this won't disrupt anything that's happening in your classroom. This is just moving forward. You can choose to use the Python 3 course.
Yeah, good question.
And I think that is it.
All right, we'll have more time to answer more questions at the end of this section. So let's look at how we can actually access all these materials in the course. The course is being released in beta by using the following link, codehs.com/python3/start. You can join this section using the class code shown here, 0A730. Both of those are zeros in the class code. And you'll have access to all the student-facing content as well as the teacher-facing materials. And this is a section that you'll be joining like your students join your classes. So once you go to the site, you might be prompted to log in to your account if you already have one. If you don't have an account, you'll be prompted to create one. And then you can join the class using this class code. and that will give you access to all of the content until we're ready to fully launch the course later in July. You can also view the course syllabus by going to codehs.com/syllabus/5657 or directly from the Python marketing page at codehs.com/info/curriculum/intro Python. And all of this information that I'm giving here on this webinar, a lot of it is found in these documents. All right, so let's see if we have any ending questions.
Let's see. And I put the links that Julia just mentioned in the chat. Let's see. We have somebody who is asking, they teach Python as a semester course. It really depends on the experience of your students. So this year they were able to get through all but the last unit, whereas last year they were only able to get through the beginning of the strings unit. So thank you for that. So to clarify, the Python 3 is not currently in our course list. This is just a beta version, so you'll need to use the course links that we provided to in the chat. That's how you'll get access to the course. You won't be able to create sections with it until July. July is when we're doing the full launch, and then you'll see it in our course catalog. Great. Let's see. We just have a question. Maybe you know the answer to this. What percentage of students are taught JavaScript versus Python? I would say in CodeHS's experience, I think we see a pretty even split between the two courses. In general, I would say the way that we think about it, you know, students are learning foundational concepts in programming, like how to, you know, decomp problems, how to, you know, use control structures, functions, and those are, you know, just foundational concepts that you're gonna see in any language. So JavaScript or Python as a first language, you know, either are great, and they're learning these really valuable kind of universal skills.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of colleges use Python as their intro language. So it might be helpful for students to already have seen that, or you might know that, you know, they'll see that in the future and they can learn those basic skills in JavaScript. We also do have some differences between our courses and the content that they cover. So JavaScript goes into graphics and animation and user interaction, which could be exciting if your students, you think they're interested in creating games and things like that. And Python is a lot more console-based. They learn about data structures such as arrays and dictionaries, and they're learning how to manipulate strings, which are all things that they're not covering in the JavaScript course. So if you're interested in one or the other, I would definitely take a look at the syllabi for both and then see if there are some concepts that you think you want included for your students, rather than just choosing one language over another.
We just had a question. So just to reiterate, the Python 3 version refers to the version of the course, or sorry, the version of Python that we're using in the course. It's not a level of the course. So it's not a follow-up to, you know, a Python level 2 course.
If your students have currently or previously taken the Python course that we offer, you wouldn't want them to take this course. They would be learning the exact same content.
Somebody had a question on, I'm assuming this is APCSA, currently taught in Java. I feel like there are always rumors that I think you hear in different places about College Board making the decision to switch to Python. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Let's see. Do we cover recursion in Python?
No, that's currently only covered in our AP CSA course.
Great. Um, I'm not seeing.
Well, as we wait for any more questions to come in, I can just let everyone know we have some upcoming webinars. We'll be launching a lot of new courses in the next few weeks. So next on the list on Tuesday is a Fundamentals of Cybersecurity course that we're launching at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And on Thursday, we'll be launching our Physical Computing with Arduino course. And that's Thursday, May 21st, 11 p.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested in signing up for either of those webinars or looking at the next ones coming up, you can go to codehs.com/webinars and get all that information. And if you have any more questions, send them in.
I put those links in the chat. I also put, if you have any questions, you can just send us an email at hello@codehs.com. That's probably a good place. We're getting some questions about like Clever integrations, and that if we can address questions there. We will be sending a recording of this webinar to all of the RSVPs. So you will be getting an email with this recording and a few other resources. There's not currently, we have a question about physical computing. Is there a course for Raspberry Pi right now?
Not yet, but it's in the works. We currently have Microbit, which we launched on Tuesday, and Arduino, which we're launching next week.
Somebody had a question about our JavaScript course. I'm just going to link to the course catalog in the chat. And that's the best place to find all of our courses that are currently up. Let's see. Just to clarify, so all of our courses we're launching in beta in May. Basically we have a launch going on every Tuesday and Thursday for the rest of May. And so Python 3 and Microbit are the two courses that are out now. Cybersecurity, Arduino, and all of the other ones will be released over the next few weeks. This is a question, Julia is actually the right person to answer this because she's also our physical computing person. So somebody had a question about using Arduino versus Microbit for 8th graders.
Yeah, 8th graders definitely right in the middle. So we have developed the Microbit course specifically for middle schoolers. The Microbit is a little bit easier of a device to use specifically when developing circuits. When you use an Arduino, you pretty quickly need a breadboard, which can complicate things a little bit. I would probably recommend the Microbit course for 8th graders if they have not done any physical computing before. If you have a lot of students who either, are on the robotics team or have, they build things all the time, they might be able to get through with the Arduino course. But the Microbit device is still allows for a lot of high level programming. So I think the Microbit would still be a good place to start. And then they can move on to Arduino. Both of those courses are semester long. So if you had students for a year, I would start with Microbit, and then some students could move up to Arduino. But you'll get a lot more information about the Arduino course specifically on next Thursday. So I would definitely say to join that webinar.
Great. Um, we have, let's see. What would you recommend that students take after Intro to Python?
It depends on what they've taken before this course and where they want to head. If they are brand new and Python is their first course, I would say they could take an AP course, either AP CSP or AP CSA. Both of those courses, I think they would be pretty prepared for. If they want to get into something else, you know, we have so many other offerings, web design. We're coming out with a new web development course. We have a bunch of cybersecurity courses or even physical computing. So if students, for both of our physical computing courses that we're launching, students will need a foundation of main programming concepts like loops and if-else statements and variables and that. So it would be good for them if they've already taken Python, they can move on and see their code come to life using sensors and components and circuits in one of those courses. So I think those would be a good next step for students if you want to keep them engaged and excited about computer science.
Great. If a teacher has students working independently through the course, is there an indicator for how long each lesson or activity should take, like a pacing guide?
Yeah, so we have lesson plans included for every lesson throughout the course, and all of our lesson plans have step-by-step lesson activities, and all of the activities have a noted time frame. So that will really help you. Most of our lessons are designed to be about 1 hour, so around one class period per lesson, but there are definitely some that are quicker topics, some that are larger projects or more complex programs that are noted there that this might take a longer time. So I would definitely look through both the syllabus has overall timeframes for each module, and then each lesson has all of those times for each activity in the lesson.
Awesome. We had a question about just teacher forum. So I'm posting a link to our teacher forum in the chat. Let's see. Let's see. My plan is to allow students to do a self-study, it seems, for junior, senior. Do you think this class would be appropriate for a 11th or 12th grade self-study?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think it is still a beginner course, so students could, I think, even get through if they have not seen computer science before. If they already have any background in computer science, that would obviously make it a little bit easier for them to do by themselves. But using all of our tools on CodeHS, you can still interact with the students. They can ask you questions if they're stuck. You're able to review and give feedback on their code. So you know that they're going in the right direction. And we also have additional offline handouts and things that you could supplement the course with, having students fill those out on Google Docs or something and submit to you. And that would make sure that you know you are supplementing them with exactly what they need. We have so many supplemental resources, both practice for students who need extra help before continuing on, or extra challenges for students who, you know, need a little bit more rigor. So all of those things are available, and our courses are customizable, so you can make sure that those students, even though they're going through the course not in a classroom with you, are still able to get everything that they need to be successful.
Great. Julia, I'm not sure that you know the answer to this because this is about, so basically I know that in Python 2 there were some built-in functions like help that weren't supported. Do you know if in this current update that is different?
I wouldn't assume so.
Yeah.
But I haven't tried. Test it out and let us know.
Do any of our physical computing courses use Python?
No, Microbit uses JavaScript in the MakeCode editor, but there is an option, an optional editor that students can use to make Microbit programs in Python. The only thing I would say is that the simulations of those programs are not really fully built out the way that they are for the JavaScript language, which is why I would definitely recommend using the JavaScript language with Microbit over Python. But if you had a student who had background in Python, say they took this course and they went through the Microbit course, which is using JavaScript, you could then challenge them, okay, now that you have completed this exercise using JavaScript, convert it and try to complete the same exercise using Python. And I think that would be a great way to challenge students to make connections between multiple languages. Arduino uses C++, and there is no current way to use a different programming language with Arduino.
I think that's it. Let's see, we have a few questions just about our cybersecurity course. So we are offering 2 new cybersecurity courses this year. A fundamentals course that will be an introductory course for high school, as well as an advanced cyber course. And basically these new cybersecurity courses, in comparison to our current cybersecurity course, just addresses standards and industry needs for students. In terms of, I think, auto grader changes that are between the 2 courses, I would say in terms of free response, we don't really have a great way to auto grade free responses. So that will not be one of the improvements for the course, but in other ways, I think in terms of content that's addressed and engagement, this is going to be a big step up. The Arduino course, if you go to the codehs.com/webinars and sign up for our Arduino course webinar, that would be the best way to get access to the Arduino course beta, which we're launching next week. You can try out the Python 3 now. So again, in the chat, I sent out the course link and the class code. And Julia can bring it up here. So this is how you would actually sign up for the beta. So that's how you can try it out now. You won't be able to create new sections for your students. So students won't be able to see this until July. But today you can go and check out the Python 3 beta. What is the microbit course called? Actually, I'm just going to send out the microbit, a link to the microbit webinar. Yeah, there's a question. Does this Python class align with certifications, Julia?
Good question. So we actually just launched certifications this month, and we have a current Python certification that will be used this year, which is aligned to our current Python course in Python 2.7. So those slight differences that we noted are currently in Python 2. Starting next year and on, we are going to be transitioning that certification to use Python 3. So this course will align with our Python certification course fully next year.
Great. Great. And then we had a question just on are there any other industry certifications? So I know, Julia, you have some information on how this Python course prepares students for the MTA Python.
Yeah, so our course covers most of the material that's covered in the Python MTA certification. There are some aspects of the test that aren't covered in our course, such as importing text files and using additional modules. We use the math module in our course, but minimally, and that's the only one. I know that there are some other modules that are needed in the MTA course. And there's some additional content that are surrounding like errors in Python. We cover that minimally as well, but not to the full extent that you would have in the MTA course, in the MTA certification. So this is definitely a really good place to start, and students would get a lot of the content they need, but then you would just need to supplement for those additional topics.
Great. I'm not seeing any other questions come in, so maybe we can hang out for another minute. And otherwise, thank you everybody for coming to this webinar, and we hope to see you at others.